All right, kicking off the next update video. Nothing too crazy in this one, but making some steps forward. Hopefully this will be easy. I'm gonna go over servicing the crankcase vent. This is only gonna apply to trucks with a Cat 3116 motor for sure. I don't know if the 3126s have this or the C7s. Not really much as far as tools and parts. The O-ring that you might need is 4L9564, and that's a Caterpillar part number. And if your crankcase vent is damaged, it's 2W9162. The tools, I just got a 5/16. That's for taking off the hose clamp. 13mm for the bolt holding it down. I needed wire cutters to snip a zip tie. And then I got some super clean for actually cleaning out the crankcase vent. And if you're gonna replace it, you don't need to worry about that. And then obviously some zip ties to replace any zip ties that you're gonna cut. All right, not the best angle, but first thing I'm gonna do, at least on my trucks, there's a zip tie here. I'm just gonna get that out of the way so I could have a little more room to maneuver. It's the 13mm. I'm going to use the 5/16 and undo this hose clamp first and get the hose out. You could probably just leave the hose in place, but I'm going to clean it out anyway. But you can just clean these out and reuse them. I'm going to clean the hose too. Mine's pretty dirty. It said on my truck the last marking was it was done in 2006. I don't know if that's true. I'm gonna spray it all down with super clean at first, and then I'm gonna use my parts cleaner and just rinse it. All right, I kept rinsing it till I stopped seeing the yellow tinted stuff coming out of it. You probably don't need to clean the hose. I did it anyway. Now I gotta let it dry, so I'm gonna go have my lunch and stuff and give it maybe like an hour or so, and then reassemble everything. I'd probably say if your O-ring isn't in bad shape, you could just get away with reusing it. But if you look close at mine, I don't know how well it shows up in the camera, I think it was taken off and installed, like right there is pretty bad, without that little lip being cleaned. So it has some issues. I mean, I'm gonna replace it, especially since I have the O-ring here already. All right, been a while, it's dry. At least I think it is. I took it and whipped it a few times and no more drops or anything come out of it. So I'm gonna go put it back on. Okay, everything's all tightened up. Tightening down that 13mm. It's just to be snug, that's it. It's not something tight. You're tightening a plastic part. Use good judgment. I think, if I remember looking correctly, it's like 13 foot-pounds, so it's not that much. And you could see I routed the hose for the discharge of it in a different place because my engine, for whatever reason, it's part of the reason why I serviced this. I didn't know if it was causing it, but little seepage coming out past it. I don't know if excessive blow-by or anything like that, but I routed it here just so I could see it better if it starts to drip. I don't think that's going to cause any problem. If somebody thinks it will cause an issue, please let me know. The only thing I could see is getting the flap hitting it, but I don't think that's going to damage it. All right, real quick. So my friends over at Super Clean, they want to do a giveaway with me. So leave a comment down below that just says, I want some Super Clean. And in 30 days, I'm randomly going to pick one of the people that said, I want some Super Clean in a comment. And I'll reach out to you through a message and I'll reply to that comment. And you'll get some Super Clean. Just got back. Took about a 2-hour drive, give or take, and Got some oil underneath of it. And looking quick, it's transmission again. I mean, this has sort of been an issue that I've had since I got the truck. So I've suspected it's the breather, and it's not going to record well because it's dark, but basically it's wet around the breather, and it gets progressively worse looking at it as you go down. So one of the guys from the Facebook group sent me the WTech 3 troubleshooting guide, and I looked at that. Okay, here it is. Fluid comes out of the fluid fill tube and or breather. Dipstick loose. And dipstick or fill tube seal worn. Pretty sure it's not these. So the reason why I bring this up is when in my last video I had the transmission harness pulled out here, I noticed that, I'm gonna do my best to record, this tube right here was somewhat loose, and that is the fill for the transmission up here. So I'm wondering if what could be happening is because, I mean, the seal up here could actually be no good too. But if those seals are bad, since it's saying what that might do is just cause a little bit of like extra pressure or movement of the oil, and that's why it's coming out the breather. So I'm going to see if I can tighten this up. I won't be able to do it on video. I noticed that that hose is real like stiff because it's old. It may need to be replaced, but I'm gonna try to tighten it. Check the O-ring in here, and I'll check to make sure this is sealing up good, which it is. I mean, these tighten down, they're pretty solid. And then I might take it out for a drive again and then leave it for a bit and see if it continues to drip. Well, I feel a little dumb, but I got to the bottom of the transmission leaking problem, and it was over full. I assumed that the cold fill and cold fill lines on the dipstick were for when it was cold, but you're supposed to let the engine get up and the transmission needed to be cold. I probably drained out like 3 gallons. Yeah, there was just too much in there. So what I went off of was, one of the guys from the group on Facebook sent me this file. I guess it's an Allison, and basically just goes through the checks. And it says first check cold to make sure that there's enough in there. And the procedure is basically start the engine, get it warm, idle it, put it in drive, put it in neutral, and then check to make sure it's within the cold range. That means it's safe to operate. Then it says operate the transmission and bring it up to temperature. If you don't have a temperature gauge, operate it under load for 1 hour. So I went out for, it's funny, this loop I did was exactly 1 hour. Came back, put it in neutral, I let it sit for 1 minute, pulled it out, and I was right smack dab in the middle of the hot range. What I did is took some of the fluid that I drained out, put it back in, and I brought it up to just maybe like 1/4 inch of the hot. And the reason why I did that is, at least it's a good sign, the oil was crystal clean. And I have about 2,000 miles that I've driven the truck, and it's been in there for 10 months, maybe, I don't know. But crystal clear, there wasn't any metal or anything in there, so I'm happy about that. I'm gonna keep an eye on it again, but I think that was the problem. Here I am thinking I had something major, but it was just the fact that it was over full. I did notice that after it draining it out, at cold temperatures I did get smoother shifts. So it was definitely overfilled. Because last time, like the clips when I started, at this point I was here for about 20 minutes and I had those big spats of oil on the deck. So no more. I didn't even notice anything on the transmission that looked like it was about to drip, like a class 2 leak, I guess they call that. So I'm happy about it. Getting there with the truck. All right, I got the kit off eBay to put the receiver on here, and gonna take the 4 bolts off and follow the instructions. Tack it first and then take it off and then fully weld it. Here's the metal kit. This is on eBay. I'll put a link below. 200 bucks with shipping at the time I bought it. The price did go up a little bit at the time I bought it because the price of steel, it goes up and down. It's pretty simple. It comes with some printout on the instructions. It does not include the actual receiver sleeve or whatever you want to call it, shank. I went and got this from Trailer Supply store over by me. You can get it online and stuff too. I'll also put a link to that, probably from like Amazon or something, in the description. So my total cost for this is like 250 bucks. All right, we're getting ready to do the welding part of it. We bolted the plate on there. I'm gonna line everything up, clean the metal up a little bit. Big Tex. It's gonna just use the flapper, clean up the pieces of metal. Then we're gonna tack weld and take it off and fully weld it in. And I got the generator trailer set up to run the welder because I don't have a plug big enough in the garage to run his welder. All right, we got it off the truck. We're making sure that the pin and everything is going to line up. It's relatively square. These pieces and everything weren't cut the best, so as long as it's welded strong, that's all that really matters. And just going to line it up, weld it up. All right, got it all welded together, and it's pretty much cooled off. I'm gonna hit it with some spray paint, get it mounted back up. I don't have any more of the Carc Match paint, so I'm gonna use some of the Rust-Oleum just to get it coated so it won't rust, and then I'm gonna get some more of the Carc Match paint, hit it when it comes in, when it's on the truck. Now to let it dry. All right, it's on. Project complete. All right, mocked everything up here, testing it out. I got this adapter off Amazon because this trailer and all my trailers have a 7-pin. Now I know this adapter isn't going to work for a trailer brake controller, which is fine. My generator trailer was the most important one that I wanted to be able to pull behind this, mostly because it's light and it's going to keep me underweight to not have to worry about CDL. I had to rewire this. I'll go over that later, and I'm going to put some wire loom on this. I just wanted to test it and make sure it worked. At first I was getting nothing. I had to replace a relay. That K28 relay, the 12-volt trailer tailgate, wasn't working. Had to replace that one. Now I'm good to go. So I got the adapter laid out here that I got from Amazon. Link in the description to this. These come wired weird. I don't know if all of them come wired like this, but anyways, I'd open it up and check. I know that all of my trailers are wired to the regular standard, and this matches up with them. So what I went off of is on mine, if you look, you can see how there's a color and then there's a number before it. I'm gonna reference the number, and I'm gonna call this end the connector, and then I'm gonna call this the wire and reference the color that's coming out to here. So the white wire gets connected to number 1, blue wire number 2, brown wire number 3, red wire number 4, yellow wire number 5, green wire number 6, The black wire goes to number 7, which is the center. This matches up and it works. I got mine for this whole adapter right here for $5. I got it as one of the like new returns on Amazon. When I got it, someone had already opened this up and tried to make it work on theirs. It was missing a couple screws and had like one of the wires taped off. I contacted Amazon customer service. I ended up getting it for $5. They refunded me. It worked. It was worth the 20 minutes to ohm out the wires and make sure it was all good. Yeah, it works. So I'm happy with it. All right, up here in the bed, I got my tow bar, and I do have the proper adapter feet and pins that I need. I just don't have them on there. But I got my Pelican case, or Hardig case, stowed away up here. And I made myself like a tow emergency kit. So I got the airlines if I need to towed or tow someone else. I made myself a slave cable. I got some adapters and just made it out of some battery welding cable. Made myself one of the double-ended cables. I got these ends off of Amazon, and then I just had some. This is actually 10 lead wire. You only need 7, but I just had it laying around, so I made it. I'll put links to these in the description. Then I got the wrench for taking the caps off the end of the axles. I have that U-joint tool, but I'm not leaving it in here because that thing was a piece of junk. Eventually I'm going to get one of the good ones to keep in here. In the cab, I have a bag with the operator's TM that came with the truck and some other like small spare parts and stuff like that. And then this little extra Ryobi bag, I got one of the vented and the non-vented glad hand covers, the caging bolts, a couple of hand tools, and this little kit's gonna grow, but it's back here. In here I got the bottle jack foot, the bottle jack, sorry lighting's bad, the adapters for the top of the bottle jack and the tow bar in there. I got the 1 1/16 socket for the CTIS armor, breaker bar, and the 38mm socket for the wheels, and then the little bars for the bottle jack. Got for the recovery stuff. And then one thing I did too, just to kind of satisfy my OCD, was I went, and this one's probably the worst, it didn't work perfect, but I took a heavy duty crescent and bent these tabs in a little bit as needed, and then I put some like door weather stripping on here to kind of help with the vibration noises, and it did make a big difference. So it's not clanking as much while driving down the road. Anyway, that's going to wrap up this update. Like I said, nothing too exciting. These little updates were kind of filmed in between some of the bigger stuff I was working on. I have 2 big update videos that pretty much I'm done doing the work, but I just need to go through the footage, edit it, and there's still some footage I need to record. One is the wheel hubs. I serviced the wheel hubs because I finally, well, that was part of finally solving my central tire inflation system, the CTIS problem. The truck is finally, I don't want to jinx it and say 100%. It's all mechanically fixed. There's nothing else, you know, with it being an old truck, there's always going to be something that pops up wrong. But all the major stuff has been fixed. There's nothing else that I know is wrong with it that needs to be gone through. So my plan is, because I try not to go over 20 minutes with a video, my plan is to do a video showing the procedure with the hub service. I know a couple of guys have done a pretty good job with it, but I'm just going to do my version of it. And then I'm going to do a full video showing everything with the CTIS and troubleshooting the CTIS, because I pretty much went through every darn piece of the CTIS and every hose and every airline to get it to work on my truck. And it's working. And one other thing that I got going, and I'm about 80% of the way there, is coming up with an aftermarket solution to the fan clutch solenoid, since they're basically not out there anymore and impossible to find. And when you do find them, they're really expensive. And what I'm considering doing after doing all the tests, because it's going to be getting a lot of different little pieces all together, I'm considering getting all the pieces together myself and making it a kit and selling it on eBay. Yeah, I'm excited. It's fun to finally start using it. And I'm moving into the phase where I'm going to start doing the fun stuff that I want to do with it, not just repairing it. I appreciate all the feedback over the last year of me working on this truck and making the videos and everything. I have the M66 turret on the way to my house right now that I'm going to be mounting up there.